Spirituality, personality, and reality. That's kind of what this channel is about. Today I want to talk about spirituality and our physicality and how that ties into each other. Me personally, I believe that there's a creator and that we were made. The reason I know that is that if I see a dawn or the sunrise, which is the same thing, my brain recognizes that as beautiful, and it was created to be able to recognize that. I don't think that it could happen over and over and over, and each time be different and still register as beautiful. Look at a pine cone. It has symmetry. Look at a flower. You can have tens of thousands of one type of flower and they all turn out the same. There is an order to it. It's not just chaos. So I truly believe that I was created and that there's an order to me, and it's just not a chaotic group of cells that somehow manifested and created a spirit. I truly believe there's a creator. With that, I truly believe there's a certain way we should be in alignment for our spirit to present in our body. To get into that a little bit, our bodies came from the ground. And how I know that is when a body is buried, it decomposes, decays, rots, and all those minerals and all the parts of the body that made up the body and that was animated by our life force goes back into the ground. And there's so many stories of how the Creator made us from the ground and we return to the ground. So if that's the case, then our bodies need to be built continuously with the items from the ground, such as minerals, which goes into where I believe alignment happens. Our bodies were not made to lay around all day. Our bodies were not made to eat the processed food that we put in them. Our body was not made to drink Cokes, sweet tea, ample amounts of sugar, and just many different chemicals that the pharmaceutical companies put out as well to put in our bodies. And those are kind of just playing games in our body because they're like, we know if this chemical goes in, it'll push this button and make this happen. Well, also, there are secondary things that are happening from those chemicals that are not natural. They're man-made to create a certain reaction in the body. Our bodies are not in alignment then. So when we live in a manner where we put all types of garbage in our body to build our body, because our bodies are always rebuilding themselves. Old cells are dying, decaying, those are being disposed of, and then it's rebuilding and putting new building blocks in. Just like your hair is always growing, your fingernails are always growing, our bones are replacing themselves, our skin cells are replacing themselves. What are they being replaced with? Let's think about this on a really small level, a micro level. The body is getting rid of all these old cells, these damaged cells, and needs to replace good quality cells or micronutrients with the old ones. Let's say the body is a factory and it's producing itself. Well, let's say there's also this list of all the nutrients and vitamins and all the good stuff that is required to build this for the body to build itself properly. Well, what if you just take that list, throw it out, and you bring in another list? Marshmallows, pizza, sugar, spam, let's see here, hamburgers from Burger King, oil from the deep fryer, chemicals that are from a factory that we have no idea exactly what they do. And that is just a small list of all the things that you replace the proper list with. And we're like, okay, now we have this list of garbage that's just man-made crap, basically. And we're going to take all this and we're going to put it into the factory. All right, let's say the chemicals from the pharmaceutical companies on the list are for the management in the body factory, and it's being put in there. Well, now the management is toxic. It's not natural. It is all out of whack, just absolute disorder. Now the management, which is, let's say it's the chemicals from the pharmaceutical companies in your human body factory, they have these garbage building blocks now. Okay, we have this processed meat. Most of it is filler. We have marshmallows. We have pizza, all these carbohydrates, all these sugars. And this management is going off this garbage list. And it's like, okay, let's just put this piece of garbage over here. We don't know what to do with all this garbage. Let's try to fit this here and see if that works. So the body, the factory, which is like its own, I guess, symbiotic system where it's building itself, is being built on guesswork with garbage building blocks. And then it has this garbage it doesn't know what to do with, so it will put it in other places. So the management has no idea the proper building blocks that are needed to continue running this factory and building itself properly. Okay, you have new management come in. All right, we're gonna get rid of all of these chemicals that come from pharmaceutical companies, and we're gonna go with nothing on that. Nothing. We're gonna go in and we're gonna find the operating manual that was originally produced for this. Okay, all right. Now we see that our supply chain is broken and we don't need to order from these supply companies anymore because it's not giving us a good output. So we're gonna call them up, be like, hey, listen, y'all were great. Y'all supplied us really, really, really well with plenty of it, but we're gonna go with another supply company now. We're gonna outsource to somebody else. Sorry, that may not be the proper word, outsource. Okay, so now management's like, okay, we're gonna look to the farmers. Vegetables are the filters for the minerals for the ground that this factory needs. Okay, we're gonna start getting greens, we're gonna get vegetables, we're gonna order this much natural meat, we're gonna order this much carbohydrates that are natural, we're gonna order this much fruits, nuts, healthy fats. We're gonna start switching basically where our supply chain is coming from and who is supplying it. The earth. That's where it needs to be coming from with what we're putting in the factory. So with the proper management, the supply chain is switched, and granted, the supplier may be upset a little bit and may try to scare you and make you feel like you can't go anywhere else. But when you take a step back and you look around, you're like, there's a huge world out here with plenty of good suppliers I need to switch to. So what starts to happen is you have the new management that's bringing in the good material, and all of a sudden you have these building blocks and you see, oh wait, we put a marshmallow here because we thought we could make it fit. We could squish it up and make it fit, but wait a second. Here's this micronutrient from this kale that we brought in our supply chain, and look, it fits right here perfectly, like it was designed to go there. Bring in more kale. Start getting out all of these marshmallows that were squished up and shoved in here. Put them in here. Cool. Wait a second. Why? The management goes in and looks like, why do we have all of this stuff collected up here that is not needed whatsoever? We have all this excess stored here. When look, we have the supply chain with all of the good supplies coming in. We don't need to store all this anymore, so we're just going to release this. We're just going to take this and we're just going to go trash it. This is just getting in the way. Guess what? The factory starts becoming more efficient, and then all those building blocks, which are puzzle pieces for the factory, start fitting into place and become far more efficient. So then as you're taking your workers with those building blocks to go put them in the right place, all that excess that was stored up, that was not needed, has cleared up the path to deliver those nutrients properly, or those building blocks. So now as the old ones are wearing out, you're like, oh, this one's wore out, like this is the piece we need. Oh, cool. We have plenty of that coming in through the, let's say, carrots. All right, cool. Pull this in and it fits perfectly. Hey, next week we need more of that. And then the factory starts putting out a demand of like, oh, we want more of that. We need more of that. That's doing good. So you give that management 12 months just to see what they do. Well, lo and behold, that factory is getting rebuilt. The workers are much happier. All the excess that was stored up that wasn't needed is released and just let go. And all the places that were not working properly are getting shored up and is becoming far more efficient. When it becomes far more efficient, guess what? There are other companies that are going to see this efficient company and they're going to step in and say, hey, listen, we like what you're doing. Your management is really killing it. You've turned this company around, and so we would like to do business with you. We would like to know how you're managing your system and where are you sourcing your products from. And then you're like, okay, well, here's how we manage. Here's where we source our products. Here's how we cut down on waste over the past year. And here's how we fill the needs that are needed. Now take that analogy and imagine it still, that's inside the human body. Well, the Spirit, the Creator, present much better in a system that is being fed properly, that is in balance, and that is being used properly. That's just the way that my brain works, and that the way I've come to understand how the body works. Why is the Creator going to have a body that is totally jacked up and just fed improperly and managed improperly be doing the work for the Creator? The Creator, these are basically the finest machines in the entire universe that we know of. It's a biomechanical processing machine. It repairs itself. It gets cut. It repairs itself. What the heck? The bones will grow back together. I've seen, I don't want to say it's a clavicle, get broken, poked up, and on its own over a couple of months, this wasn't in me, it was somebody else, grew back together properly with no issues whatsoever. Like, what the crap? Like, seriously, that's like phenomenal. So this is the finest machine in the universe. So the Creator wants it to be shown in the finest possible condition it can be, to use it. The Creator doesn't want our spirit just to junk it up and make it this vomitous, sagilistic, that's not the word, but just a vomitous mass of worthlessness that has no energy, that has no drive, and that is just pathetic. And I can honestly say that without shame, blame, or judgment, because in my past, this whole machine has been a pathetic, vomitous mass. And I had to go in and change the management, and then I had to change where I was outsourcing the food or the building blocks, and then I had to reassess what it believed at its core of how it was supposed to work and what it was supposed to do. And once that happened, like, management changed up, the building blocks changed up, and it came into alignment. Now, then the Creator will say, I see this body, and this spirit is using this body properly, and it's a good example, a representation of what it is meant to be. Granted, it's not at its peak. It's about 40 years behind of what it could be, though it is on track for doing what it was meant to do and what it was designed to do. And to build, now I'm going to amp up the energy, I'm going to give it more resources, and I'm going to allow this spirit to take this fine machine into the world and represent me now. Take it or leave it if what you heard is garbage or what you heard maybe made sense. Basically, that's to encourage. I mean, that's the way I view our bodies and coming into alignment and the way we are meant to be. And so when we are feeding our bodies, our temples properly, the Creator is more apt to step in and not necessarily respect that, but say, okay, I'm going to give you more energy. I'm going to give you direction. I'm going to give you path and resources to pursue serving others, because inevitably, isn't that what we're here for? And that's why I have this channel, to help encourage others from my life lessons, what I've learned and what I am learning, and to come in alignment. Because however we view the world, there is so much evidence to show that there is a far greater power out there than us, and that we were created. And if we live in a manner to respect that authority and to feed these temples well, then it only makes sense that life will shift, and we will become a better character, and we will be able to get on our path that was meant for us. The end.